What's up? Is it Beata, Jean, Ariana? What's up? Good afternoon, wherever you are watching from. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good afternoon. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I'm just making sure that I'm over here on Facebook trying to make sure that I see the comments if they roll through. Y'all doing all right today? Did y'all have a good day today? Some of y'all might still be at work, or some of you might still be, um, well, if you're on the other side of the world, like in Australia, you might be on your way to sleep. So how y'all doing? Talk to me. How y'all doing? And if you could, if you're here, if you would be so kind to double tap that screen, send some hearts this way, send some hearts this way. Welcome everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Listen, I'm getting used to being live, coming live with y'all. I did not do it this morning because I had to do some other work. So, but I came and I told myself I'm gonna hop on, even if it's just for a little bit, because I think it's good to kind of spread out, you know, going live. I do live in the morning, but I might start doing it in the afternoon just to talk and share, especially to those that are new to my page, those that are like, I see him doing sound bowls, but you don't really know a lot about me. So I wanted to hop on and just share my story, my journey. But do me a favor, click on the double tap the screen, send some hearts. It helps us creatives in this algorithmic world of social media. It helps us to get to the audience, to get beyond the shadow banding and everything that they say happens when you go live. But I am on just to share. So my name is Titus Glenn, singer, songwriter, sound healer, and spiritual life coach. And I'm really amped because I just kind of got off a call with a client, and I must say that I love what I get to do. I love what I get to do. I love what I get to do. And just a little bit about me. I grew up a church boy. Grew up a church boy. I still feel like I am a church boy. And I'm realizing that the things that, thank you for the hearts. There we go. Nelly, thank you for the hearts, for the love. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Thank you. I feel like I'm realizing even the more so that church kid will always be there. It's not going away. And as much as I try to push church down and I don't want to say talk again. Well, people might say talk against it, but have this breakthrough and breaking away from what I was taught. That there's pieces and remnants that will probably never go away, and I am okay with that. I'm learning to be okay with that. But just give you and share my story for those that are here. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the share. Um, born and raised Baptist. Born and raised Baptist, and all my life, that's really pretty much all I knew. And then my mom and aunt, they began to go through the Pentecostal phase, and they began speaking in tongues, and I was that kid that liked going to church, that really liked going to church. Like I would hop in the car when they would go pray. I remember this one time they hopped in the car to go pray at a beauty shop, and I was like the first one in the car. And That was my life. I was the kid that liked going to church, that liked going to musicals, that liked going um, just to be around gospel music. Thank you for the continued love, Nelly. I appreciate it. And so when about when I went to college, I still tried to go to a Baptist church. I still tried to go to a Baptist church when I went to college, and somewhere along there, I ran into this pastor and his wife, and they were non-denominational. And so I started, hey Sandy, how are you? Thank you for being here in this space. I started going to this non-denominational church, and I started that ministry as a worship leader, singing, leading worship. Now, mind you, I have been leading worship since I was 13, but this gave me a different platform to lead worship, and do it in a way that was freeing, speaking in tongues, and we would have moments in church to where that's all we did was praise and worship. That's all we did was praise and worship. And our church at that time was like, I would say like probably like one of the go-to churches. One of the go-to churches. Oh, thank you for sneaking in. I feel loved. I feel loved. Thank you for sneaking in. Thank you for sneaking in. So one of the things that I got to do during church was lead worship, and I still love doing that, right? And I just do it now in the way of sound healing, taking people on the journey within. But we'll get there. So how did I get there, right? So during this time, I'm leading worship, speaking in tongues, prophesying through song, singing through song, all those things, right? And so when I got to a space in ministry, I got in a space in ministry to where I was like, there got to be something more. Got to be something more. And I ran into this lady who started talking about the Hebraic roots of Jesus. Started talking about the Hebraic roots. And in the teaching of the Hebraic roots, it started to make more sense to me. It started to make more sense to me about Jesus being a Jew and his lifestyle, and reading about the feast days and looking at when he was born and how that could be more aligned than Christmas. And so I was married at the time, and so we started practicing feast days. We started practicing Rosh Hashanah. We started practicing Pesach. We start practicing Feast of Tabernacles. We start practicing all the days that were associated with the Hebrew culture. We even did Hanukkah instead of Christmas, right? We did Hanukkah instead of Christmas. And I began to really explore the Torah and the teaching of the Torah, right? And one of the times that I was in class, and we was talking about the Torah, and the rabbi started to share about the concept of hell. And he said in this class, in this Torah class, that the Jews do not make hell a big thing. They don't make hell a big thing. And I began to really question what he was saying. I began to like, okay, Jesus is a Jew. If Jesus is a Jew and his culture doesn't really preach hell, then in these other sectors of religion, why is it that hell is being taught, and why is there so much condemnation around hell, right? Why is there so much condemnation? Why is there so much hate? Why is there so much hate? And that planted a seed in how I got to where I am today. So I went through that teaching, had that seed planted, and somewhere after that, my marriage was kind of in a space of going through. Let's just say it like that. And I found myself in an affair. And I don't say that braggingly. I say that because I'm no longer embarrassed about it. I'm no longer embarrassed about it. It used to be something that I was ashamed of, but now it's just a part of my story. It's a part of my story as to how I got here. And when I started having that affair, um, I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody, right? Like, OMG, couldn't really share. Even when I started sharing, it was really uncomfortable to talk about that because in religion there's not a lot of compassion for people that make mistakes. There's not a lot of compassion for people that do something contrary to what the Bible says you shouldn't do. And so I was in that space. I was in that space, and my wife forgave me, and we moved on through that. But then I found myself in another affair, and at this point, I'm tripping out because now I'm not understanding what is transpiring. I'm not understanding like why do I keep on getting to this situation? Why do I keep on having an affair? And I started to do some research. And I came across this um, interview with Esther Perel and Tony Robinson, and they was talking about why do people cheat, right? And I keep on saying "and" a lot. I'm gonna have to work through that. They did a video. If you have never seen this video, go watch the video. They talk about why do people cheat, and I started to watch this video, and I began to realize that I was not happy in my marriage. And we started doing counseling. We was in counseling. We went to therapy. I started doing my own therapy because it was really bothering me that I was the one having an affair. I would have thought she would have had one before I had one because I was in this self-righteous state. Like, to this Titus Glenn you see today is not the same Titus Glenn 10 years ago, right? I wasn't drinking, and I'm not a heavy drinker, so I don't want to put that out there. But, I wouldn't even drink socially, right? I wouldn't even drink socially because I was that self-righteous. Um, I wouldn't have certain conversations. I wouldn't be in certain rooms. I wouldn't. There was so much that I wouldn't do because there was this. Thank you, Sandy, for the likes. There was this fear of don't do that, you're going to hell. Don't say that, you're going to hell. Um, just the idea that I thought about it, I felt like it wasn't God. I felt like that if I even thought about it, if I even entertained it. So smoking weed, even though I don't smoke weed, it's a different thought behind it now. Even having intimacy with people outside of marriage, that was a struggle to even talk about. And so here I am in this space of my marriage conflicted. I'm going through therapy. I'm in therapy because I'm having an affair. I'm trying to figure out why I'm having an affair, realizing that I'm not happy, and then I'm starting to question, like, why am I even married? Like, why am I even married? Like, what is happening? Like, and just to explain briefly, I got married because I thought God said so, right? I thought God said she was the one. And in that thought pattern of me thinking God said so, I began to question, what if God didn't say? What if God didn't say? What if I got it wrong? Right? And if not wrong, what if my understanding of what this relationship is now? What if what are we saying? I don't know what they're doing. Hold on. I don't know what TikTok is doing. They're trying to say that I'm saying something that's inappropriate. And I'm like, what did I say? So, but in that, I started to question, like, if I got the interpretation wrong, because at that point, that's all I was holding on to was this interpretation of this dream that I had. And after only 3 months of dating, we were now married 14 years. And then I'm looking like, okay, this don't look, this don't feel like something's off. And so I decided that if I got the dream wrong or the interpretation wrong or maybe I understood it wrong, there was nothing to hold on to. There was nothing to hold on to. So I decided to release the marriage. And that put me in a really, really dark space because I was like, God, this wasn't supposed to be this way. This wasn't supposed to be my life. I'm Titus Glenn. I'm I'm singing, leading people in worship. I'm quote unquote shifting atmospheres and doing all these things. And I'm divorced now. I'm divorced now. And that put me on the quest of really questioning who God was. Because that entire experience, people have never been through divorce would never be able to understand those feelings that it's a death, it's a grief, and is really something that you really can't explain until you go through it. And I don't wish it on anyone. But in that, it has made me who I am today. And on my journey of really starting to ask these questions, I hopped on a prayer call. And in that prayer call, one of the things that they said when we were praying or when they were praying, they were saying, by any name you call God, this is what this space is for. And that week, I experienced God in a way that I have experienced God before, but now it was like, OMG, I feel like I am connecting myself to God on this call. And the journey in itself, when it started, it was rough, y'all. I ain't gonna even lie. Questioning God, like questioning the name of Jesus, like didn't really want to read the Bible, didn't want to touch nothing that had to do with God, because at this point, is God even real? Is God even real? Thank you for all the hearts, all the likes. Thank you for the shares. Thank you. Is God even real? Because this don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. This hurt, this pain, this confusion, it just don't make no sense. And that journey took me on learning how to break the self-righteousness and learning how to have compassion for myself. For myself first, so I can have compassion on other people. Because I was not really compassionate for people. Not in the way that I thought, right? And I began to see that I was only living my life based upon what I had been told. I was only living my life based upon what I've been told. And now I was in a space of, what do I actually believe? What do I actually believe? And it's in this space that I begin to ask those hard questions and really begin to sit with the idea of who I felt like God was. And I can truly say that I've walked through what some would say the dark night of the soul. Because y'all, it was dark. It was dark. And after my call today with my client, I really realized why I had to go through it. I realized that I had to go through that to be where I am now, to be able to coach the way that I do and what I get to do, because I'm realizing now that there are so many people who feel disconnected from God. There's so many people that feel disconnected from God. And the church that we knew of and that bought those great experiences are now struggling with how to connect people with God, because those theologies and those ways of being, a lot of those ways no longer work for where we are now. And I want to encourage somebody that might be watching, that might watch this later, that those feelings that you feel for 3 years, Sandy, you've been disconnected from church, or what? Explain the disconnect. There's so many like you that feel disconnected from God. And I wanna help and sow this seed if I can. If it's okay. Well, first answer the question, if you can. From church and God. Got you. Got you. Is it okay if I share how I got through that? Is that okay? Um, where were you before? You at work, Sandy? Can you come in the chat live, or you at work? You was connected your whole connected to church. I got you. So I think you said you was at work, but I was gonna have you. I was gonna see if you just wanted to share in this space. If you were free, I would just invite you into the room to talk. Um, but I'm going to share, if that's okay, because there are so many people who loved going to church, but now that love for that place dismissed, is gone. The love for that place of fellowship, like they just literally just go, just because it's what they know to do. And so I've been hopping on, just sharing my story. And while I'm here, I want to plug May the 18th. I'm hosting an event called Unchurching, Healing Religious Trauma and Fostering Personal Development. It's a free event. You can click on the link in the bio. You can click on the link in the bio and it'll put you on the email list. So when I send out the Zoom link, it's going to be from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. But let me share with you what. Oh, okay. I know you're at work, so I won't. We'll have to hop on a live later. Or if not, I'm gonna share here. You have earbuds. Okay, cool. So let me share with those that are watching. If y'all could do me a favor, just heart the screen one more time, and share this link for those that might need to hear it. Those that might need to hear it, because I feel like this is for those people that were like me, that grew up in church, loved church, but your belief starts changing, and then now you're like, God, where are you? Where are you? So this is what has helped me in connecting back to God. And I hope that this lands. If not, let it fall where they may. I think one of the most harmful things I feel like being a church kid that I was taught was that God was out in this ether, in the clouds. And when I was taught to pray, I was taught to pray to God above, right? And so that put God on the outside of me. And one of the things that I've had to learn, unlearn from that God is on the outside, and really be okay with knowing that God is everywhere. That God is everywhere. And if God is everywhere, that God is living in me. So instead of thinking about God outside of myself, God is within me. And if you're a Bible lover, and if you still read the scripture, I was talking today, and I took it to scripture. And it says in the beginning, God made who? Adam and Eve. That's the text that we talk about. That is the text that we use to talk about creation. But then it says that God made Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were what? Human. Right? But Adam and Eve are also made in the image of God. Okay? I hope somebody's following me. If you're following me so far, just give me a like or give me a heart. See if you can double tap the screen if you're following me so far. Hey, Renee. So we were taught that Adam and Eve, who are humans, were made in the image of God, right? And if Adam and Eve were made in the image of God, and they are human, and we are the lineage, quote unquote, of Adam and Eve, right? Then could it be possible that we are also made in the image of who? God. So, beloved, I hear Mama Iyanla say, beloved, I think if anything, what we have to learn, if Adam and Eve were made in the image of God, who are human, then it could be possible, and is quite the truth, that we are also made in the image of God. And in being made in the image of God, when we are actually looking for God, we're not looking for anything else but ourselves. Because God is in me and He's in you. So could it be possible that the disconnect is not being disconnected from God, but is a disconnect from who you are? It says in the beginning, God breathed into Adam. The very fact that I have breath in my body is an indicator that God is living in me. And that might take time for that to sit and resonate, but God is living on the inside of you. So when you're looking for God, it could be that you're looking for yourself. Oh. Hey, the nappy coach. Hey. And I feel like, thank you for the follow as well. When I am teaching and holding this space for people who are deconstructing to really tap into your power. Because I was talking to a friend, And we were talking about Jesus, and we'll have to talk about Jesus in another live. And we were talking about Jesus was God's son who carried God's power. Okay? Stay with me. Who carried God's power. But then we find scripture where Jesus himself says that greater works, absolutely. Jesus himself said, greater works shall you do. But we never really look at that in a bigger picture. If Jesus himself, who we talk about being raised from the dead, can say, greater work shall you do, how is it that we cannot come to terms with the same God that was on the inside of Jesus is on the inside of you and me? And when I'm looking, right, because Jesus also said, come on, I feel my help here. Because Jesus also said, when you see me, you see who? I need some church people in here now. Let me stop. Jesus said, when you see me, you also see the Father. So when you see me, you see God. And when I see you, I see God. But the problem is, not everybody is aware of their divinity. Not everybody is aware of the power of God that's within them, which is why we have some of these spaces that we have. Because when I know that you carry a God essence and I carry a God essence, I might be more careful with how I treat you, because the way I treat you is really how I'm treating myself. Because we all carry God within us. And the real problem within the confines of religion is that it has brought disconnect. Absolutely, we are the reflection. Absolutely. It has brought a disconnection from ourselves first, and now we cannot feel connection with humanity. Am I helping somebody? Thank you for the gift. Am I helping somebody? So this is what I am. These are the things I'm telling my clients. Hey, Renee, because I've been there. I've been in that space of not knowing who I am. And especially when I was wrestling with being a same gender loving black man, I was wrestling. I was like, God, this can't be you. It can't be you. And then I had this thought. Come on, I had this thought because the Bible in itself has been so misused. And this is my thinking. This is my thinking. This is how I've had to deconstruct. God asked me this question. Right? God asked me, when I heard that voice, how I call God. If I could use Judas to bring about a situation to bring Jesus to the point of being crucified and brought back to life, that whole scenario, like Judas in that whole scenario had a purpose. Judas had a purpose, but we never talk about that. We always talk about the negative connotation of Judas, but we never talk about Judas having a purpose. And if it had not been for the purpose, we would not have the story of Jesus being resurrected and all that. I love that for you. Right? If Judas had a purpose, and that purpose was that, right? How is it that maybe my purpose is this over here, being a same gender loving black man and living a truth in such a way that's going to shift something else? I need somebody to know on this live that your purpose is going to come from a place of rediscovery. Rediscovering who you are. That if God in these Bible stories, absolutely, absolutely, all the disciples had a purpose, right? And we cannot dictate what somebody's purpose is. And when we start to dictate what people should be doing, then we get in the way of people evolving and God evolving into their divinity and God and evolving into who God called them to be. And when we start demonizing and sending people to hell for things that we don't understand, we limit who God is. We limit who God is. So I hope this is helping somebody. This is why I continue to teach and show up and tell this story, no matter who's in the room. No matter who's in the room, because there's so many people who are still, who feel stuck because they feel like if they walk away from the church, they walk away from God, right? But even when you feel like you're walking away from God, you're never walking away from God because God is within you. Absolutely. When we limit God, we limit ourselves. Absolutely. So I just wanted to hop on. Listen, if you are in the space where where you're looking for a spiritual coach, if you want to connect, I have a 30-minute free consult that you can click on the link in my bio, and we can talk through how that will look for that space to be co-created. Um, I'm looking at starting a community for those that are deconstructing, and that's going to be taking place soon. But May 18th is the closest thing to that. So May 18th, if you need somebody to talk in a space as a collective about religious trauma, because I feel like most people don't even know that they have religious trauma, which is why they have anxiety, which is why they have fear, because they are disconnected from themselves. But they don't know that. And so they take that and all they know is like, I don't feel God. What you're really saying is I don't really know how to love myself as myself. That's what you're really saying. When you're saying you're disconnected, what I really hear you saying, yeah, is it mental health? Come on, it's made mental health awareness. That's what's up. What you're really saying when you say I'm disconnected, what I'm really hearing you say is I'm having a hard time with loving who I am. Or I don't really know who I am. And I feel lost because I don't know what my purpose is in the grand scheme of things. Because you're not disconnected from God. You don't know who you are. Oh my, I feel like I'm preaching. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry, but I'm just saying. For those that if I can give this tool to whoever's watching, if you feel disconnected from God, and we just talked about you're not disconnected from God because God is within you, maybe we can alter it a little bit and say, okay, if I'm not connected from God because God is within me, if God is within me, maybe the real question is God, source, creator, universe, world, show me who I am. Maybe that's the real thing you're asking. A rediscover. You can explore that, right? But I think the real thing is show me who I am. And if you need help, there's tools that I'm providing my clients in the coaching sessions because that's the real thing. The disconnect is you don't know who you are. Listen, and that whole divorce is a grief. Like that's a whole process. Like redis, I don't even want to say rediscover because when you rediscover, it's like coming back to a thing. And when you come into this knowledge of who you are, there's not a going back to regurgitate. It's a phoenix type of evolution. It's a show me who I was meant to be. Show me the people and the people, places, and things I was called to. Show me why I'm here. I'm not trying to go back to where I was. I'm not trying to uh, uh, find my keys again. I want a new key. I want the people that I'm assigned to. I want the people and the things that are aligned with who I am. Show me who I was when you spoke in the beginning. Because truth was, when God spoke in the beginning, I was there with God in the beginning. So when I'm saying, God, show me who I am, I'm saying, God, show me who you are in my life as me. Show me who you are. Show me who I am. Because when I know who I am, I know who you are. To me, because this is my relationship. This is what I'm standing on. Show me who I am. Okay. If this bless you, you always donate. And I don't do this for donations, but if you feel called to. Um, but yeah, I love y'all. I love y'all. I'm here to help 500 people discover who you are. And in discovering who you are, right, you find out who God is. In discovering who you are, you find out who God is. All right? I think I'm done. Did y'all have any questions while I'm here? My pleasure. Do y'all have any questions? Don't forget May 18th. When y'all see the flyer, please share. Please share the flyer. I need your help with sharing the flyer. Oh, come on. I love it, TikTok hat. Come on, come through. Listen, go get your rest, Renee. Go get your rest. All right, May 18th. I will see y'all. I'll hop back on here later tonight. I'm going to, do these more often. And if you're back in the room, come on. And if you're available, I would love to have conversations with you where you are and how things are going for you. Let's get through this evolution and not rediscovery, the finding out of who we are. Tonight, I'll probably be on. Woo, I can't say. I normally do a sound bath at night. I normally do a sound bath to wind down. So it'll probably be around 10:30, 11. I'm going to do a sound bath to wind down. And then tomorrow I'm going to be traveling, so I don't know when. But I will be hopping on Sunday morning for sure at 7:30, where I'll be in a hotel. So I'll be doing some singing, singing Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I probably will start. I probably break down some text and talk through some text and what I've learned in my studies, and these are things that I'm going to be taking and putting in my Patreon for the community that I feel called to build, so that we can expand and share this information. Not information as if I'm giving to you, but information that you get to process and bring it to. Do you really? Okay. 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I got you. Uh, yes, I am getting my master's in counseling. Come on. But I'm in the interim. I'm doing spiritual life coaching, which I am trained for. I am getting my minister currently. For the last 2 years, I've been going through a process um, to get my license as a minister of spiritual consciousness. So I am qualified to do this work that I'm doing, and I do have my certificate for religious trauma certification. So, which is why I can speak to these things, because you're not speaking to somebody that hasn't did the work. You haven't you haven't you're not speaking to somebody. And I don't say this arrogantly. I say this because I could literally weep. Ooh, I might weep because I'm grateful for the work. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for seeing this evolution. I'm sorry. I listen. I'm grateful because the work is real. The work is real. The transformation is real once you find out who you are. Once you find out your call, once you wake up and be like, this is why I'm here. This is why all of this happened. So yes, if you need assistance, I I'm trained to come alongside of you. I cannot do the work for you, right? There's work that you have to do, but I'm here to be a witness and to witness your evolution of what's happening in your life. So the nappy coach, just let me know. I will be available. I will make sure that I'm available at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, um, for sure, for sure. But yeah, woo! I love y'all so much. Know that in this life, where you are is right where you need to be. Is right where you need to be. Okay, send it to me in my inbox, and we'll come into the room and have these discussions. But I love y'all again. If you want to hit me up, oh, you coming? You coming, Sandy? Come on through. Come on through, y'all. We get to change our freaking life. Listen, who thought? I'm gonna get off because I'm having a moment. When I was walking out of my divorce and grappling with what I was going to do next, one of the biggest things that was scary for me was coming out and talking about being a same gender loving black man. And that's not something that I'm just holding on to, but it's part of my story because there was such a fear that God wouldn't be able to use my life and that God wasn't going to love me and that I was going to go to hell, all these things. But the fact that I'm standing in a space to be able to have clients and have people comment and see the impact, I want to let you know that I'm proof that once you start living your truth, and it's not about same gender loving, this is about you finding your truth. Like, where are you supposed to be? Who are you supposed to be connected to? Finding that truth and leaning into that is going to change your life. It's going to change your life. All right. I love y'all. Let me get out. I love y'all. We'll be back apparently at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be back talking with the nappy coach. So I love y'all. See y'all later.